Hi guys, it's Tablet-News.com and I'm here with the iPad Air for a full review. This device was announced back in October and it's a 9.7-inch flagship from Apple. It was launched on November 1st in stores and it finally arrived here at Tablet-News.com for testing purposes. We're dealing here with a device that goes for $499, that's the starting price of the device, in the 16GB Wi-Fi version. As far as the design goes, as you can see, Apple has moved on to a bigger iPad mini design. This is the biggest iPad design change over the last years, especially for the 9.7-inch segment. As far as the thickness goes, this model measures 7.5 millimeters in thickness, which is 1.9 millimeters less than the iPad 4, and the width here, well, Apple has cut 8 millimeters from both sides of the device, from each lateral side. The design involves a solid aluminum unibody chassis and the tablet is 28% lighter than the iPad 4. The weight this time is 469 grams here. The grip is very good adherence, and the device has more of a portrait orientation, as you can see for yourself if you hold the device like this. I like the fact that we get a pretty big upper and lower bezel, so you can actually place your thumbs here in these areas when watching videos or playing games. At the front side we can find the front camera here, obviously the display and obviously the home button. We move to the back side where we find the camera and the microphone right here, plus the famous Apple logo that tends to get dirty pretty easily. At the bottom we find the lightning port and two stereo speakers, while at the top there is a second mic right here, the on-off button here and the audio jack here. On the sides we find the pill-shaped buttons and this silent button right here. The edges of the new iPad feel pretty blunt compared to the sharper edges of the predecessors, and the cellular version will also have a nano SIM card slot in case you're wondering. This product is a great evolution simply because it's 183 grams lighter than the previous iPad, which is very impressive. So overall we like this design, and although the tablet has become lighter, it doesn't feel flimsy at all. Now as far as the specs are concerned, what we get here is a 9.7-inch screen. This one is an LED backlit IPS LCD with the usual Retina display resolution, which is 2048 over 1536 pixels. That equates to 264 ppi density. This screen is scratch resistant and also it has oleophobic coating, so you'll be able to get rid of grease and fingerprints pretty easily. Inside the device we find a dual-core Apple A7 CPU. This one is a 64-bit processor with a clock speed of 1.4 GHz, which is 100 MHz more than the processor on the iPhone 5s. We got Cyclone cores here on this device and also the M7 coprocessor for movements analysis. The GPU inside the tablet is a PowerVR G6430, and other features here include 1 GB of RAM, 16 GB up to 128 GB of storage, and two cameras. So we have a 5 megapixel camera at the back and a 1.2 megapixel camera right here at the front side. Now continuing the list of specs, as far as connectivity is concerned, we have Wi-Fi, ABGN, we also got MIMO dual antennas available here. Obviously the cellular version also gives you LTE, and we got GPS and GLONASS, Bluetooth 4.0, lightning port, stereo speakers, and the section that includes other stuff offers you accelerometer, gyroscope with 3-axis, compass, and as the OS we have here the version iOS 7.0.3. The battery here is a 32.4 watt-hour battery, and Apple says it should provide you with about 10 hours of usage. We did our own testing in order to see if that's true, and let's see what we found out. Our test involved brightness at 50%, playing YouTube HD videos in a loop, and let's show you the screenshots. Okay, so the time is 6 and 18 minutes, the battery is at 77%. Now it's 7:38, the battery is 65%. Now it's 8:37, battery at 56%. It's 9:38, battery at 46%. It's almost 11, as you can see, 36%. We move further. and we've reached 27%, which means we've lost 50% of the battery life in 5 hours and a half. So overall you should know that this tablet is able to reach even 11 or 12 hours of continuous HD video playback, which is very good, and it's hard to find a rival for this model. It even beat the iPad 4 battery, but if I remember well, it doesn't beat the iPad mini battery. That was simply incredible. So once again, 11 hours of continuous HD video playback, pretty impressive if you ask me. As far as the charging goes, we get a bundled 12-watt charger. It takes about 3-4 hours to charge the device, and overall this is a very good battery. Now as far as the audio is concerned, time to test those speakers. Speakers right here. As you can hear, it's a very good audio experience on this device, and the songs that have a voice actually sound excellent. We got excellent voice, excellent bass, the volume is very good, and this tablet can even fight the Nexus 10 as far as the volume is concerned. Sadly, when you listen to the tune at top volume, the back of the tablet would tend to vibrate just a little bit, and the vibration spreads throughout the aluminum case. Apple still insists to place the stereo speakers on one side of the device, although if they place them right here, they may cover that special plastic area that the 4G tablets have, so there is no actual alternative to placing the speakers here, and even though you may cover them a bit with your hands, they won't sound muffled at all. So we got very good audio, which is impressive. Of course, we also got good old iTunes. You can download stuff from there, a lot of new albums coming out. Korn has a new album, Eminem has a new album, everyone has a new album. You can download them from iTunes, listen to their previews. Lady Gaga has a new album, and if you're done with downloading, you can go to the settings area and notice that your music app has an equalizer setting with a ton of options like loudness, Latin, jazz, hip-hop, flat and all that. There's a sound check option as well, and a volume limitation if you feel that the volume is too loud at the maximum level. So overall, a very good audio experience on this device. Okay, now on the video side, I'm going to resort to good old YouTube. We've taken a sample at some point. Our sister site has reviewed the iPhone 5S, and there we had a very colorful sample that we must take advantage of. Okay, let's also try to write sample. Very comfy virtual keyboard, by the way. And the sample is this one. Let's turn down the volume and enjoy the colors. Let's also tweak the option to 1080p and see what this beautiful screen can do. This is a capture taken with the iPhone 5S as a coincidence, and we're enjoying colors here. This is a 9.7-inch screen with a resolution of 2048 over 1536 pixels. The screen offers a crisp and bright image, very good contrast and good viewing angles. As you can see, no problems with that. After all, it's an IPS LCD screen. We got RGB striped pixels, and if you want other details, we've taken some shots of the screen in a very interesting way. That interesting way involves a microscope, so these are the pixels of the screen under a microscope. This is the screen caught on black, and this is the screen caught on white. We achieved 380 lux units on white, which is pretty good, and 2 lux units on black. The blacks are not that deep on this device, so in that aspect that's pretty bad. It may bother you when you're watching a movie and the black background is not actually as black as you want it. This is an IPS LCD panel with a 4:3 aspect. The color accuracy is very good, and to show you that, I'm actually going to show you pictures I have taken with this iPad Air. So color accuracy is good, you won't see any unrealistic colors, which is pretty impressive for an Apple product that usually were defined by oversaturation and color exaggeration over the past years, but the iPad Air does not have this problem. So color is pretty accurate. The only problems that this screen has, the only one, is the slight reflectivity of the screen when it meets a light source. That's the only one. Now it's time to test the camera, the 5 megapixel camera at the back, activating it and using this little fellow right here. Since the camera is placed in a corner, it will be tricky for me to actually find him and take a decent picture of the little guy. Here we go, trying to focus, and let's see him. A reasonably detailed shot, pretty impressive shot. The screen also helps, I have to say it. Okay, so let's get things straight about the camera. 5 megapixel cam here. It's pretty much the same camera as the one of the iPad 4. Just in case you're wondering, we have an f2.4 lens, a wilder field of view in case you're wondering. So that wide field of view triggers a 3.3mm focal length, just like the iPad mini. We got very fast capture and pretty good HDR. As you can see, we can take HDR photos on and off, and the camera UI has only a few options: HDR, video, photo, square, and the autofocus is pretty fast. The colors are good, the brightness is good. My only objection here would be, among others, that we don't have a panorama, a burst shot, and other modes like that on this device. The new interface of the camera, as you can see, it's pretty flat, just like the one of the iPhone 5s. Now let's show you some samples. And as I said, I really regret that they didn't implement any panorama, slow motion. As you can see, the pictures look pretty good. You'll see a full gallery in our text review pretty soon. Vivid colors, but no oversaturation. And now let's also see some videos. We got those for you. It's interesting to note that when taking videos, the image will actually be zoomed in a little bit by default. The videos are crisp, the focus is good, and the videos taken with this tablet have 17 megapixel bitrate. The audio is also pretty good when recording that, although it's mono, remember that. And the videos here are taken in Full HD, 30 frames per second. And they actually look pretty decent. Yet again, you'll see them on YouTube and have more details in the text review. Now if you're going to end the camera aspect, let's end it with some editing here. So let's pick a picture. Let's say this one, perhaps a less blurry one. If you press edit, you'll see a bunch of options available to you here: rotate, enhance, filters, red eye and crop. Enhance has the auto enhance feature. Filters include mono, tonal, noir, fade, chrome, process, transfer and instant. Filters that you can apply, revert to original, and these are the basic options that you can use to edit a picture on the go. The conclusion about the camera is that it's very good, especially for such a big tablet, so pretty impressed by it. Now as far as the benchmarks are concerned, we took some screenshots, obviously, and they're stored right here. Okay, so I decided to compare this device with a bunch of high-performing devices. I compared it obviously to the iPhone 5s, the iPad 4 and the Galaxy Note 3. So first things first, Browser Mark 2.0, impressive score, 3,563 points. We beat the Galaxy Note 3 and its 3,000 points, and we got beaten by the iPhone 5s with its 3,578 points, pretty much identical, minor difference. Okay, SunSpider, this score, well, the lower the better. We scored 426 points, which is very impressive. The iPhone 5s scored 473, Galaxy Note 3 580, and the iPad 4 800, so clearly the iPad Air wins. Next up, the most relevant of all, the 3D Mark benchmark in the version Ice Storm Unlimited, where here we scored 14,740 points. We beat the iPhone 5s by 1,000 points. We got beaten by the Galaxy Note 3 by a huge amount, 5,000 points, but as you know, the Samsung Galaxy Note 3 had a bit of a scandal related to cheating, and the iPad 4 was beaten by us by 4,000 points. We moved further to GFX bench, excuse me. Here we scored 27 frames per second in the off-screen test, if I'm not mistaken, and we beat the iPhone 5s by 2 frames per second, the Note 3 by 1 frame per second, and the iPad 4 by about 8 frames per second. Next up, we got the Geekbench 3 here with a single core and multi-core test. The multi-core test is the more relevant one. Here we scored 2697 points. We beat the iPhone 5S by 100 points, and the Galaxy Note 3 beat us yet again by 300 points, while the iPad 4 was beaten by 1000 points. Linpack is next. Here we got an average of 960 or a maximum of 1000. Well, the iPad Air scores that much right here in Linpack, and the iPhone 5S scores about 900 mFlops. Finally, the last test here is the one called Basemark. Here we scored 13.3 frames per second with the iPad Air, while the iPhone 5S scored 27 frames per second, iPad 4 9.3 frames per second. The results are pretty good aside from those that got beaten by the Galaxy Note 3, but as you know, sometimes Samsung likes to cheat. Okay, since we mentioned performance, temperature and all that, this is the temperature that the device reaches after 15 minutes of gaming. It's 34.4 degrees Celsius right here after 15 minutes of gaming, which is pretty okay considering this device is made of metal and it's usually colder than other devices. As you probably figured out from Browser Mark 2.0 already, Safari is a very fast browser, and let's test that by accessing our website Tablet-News.com. Here we go. As you can see, almost instant loading, and now let's see the website in landscape as well. The screen is so crisp that you don't even need to zoom in to read the text. But if you do zoom in, the quality is stunning, the scrolling is fast, and the usual sections that you saw on other iOS 7 devices are here. For example, you can airdrop stuff, you can share stuff via message, via mail, Twitter or Facebook, you can bookmark stuff, you can add to the reading list, add to the home screen, copy or print. Then you can view your bookmarks or favorites here. You can sync stuff to your iCloud, see what you have open on your iPhone, for example, or your iPad mini. And now let's go to iOS 7.0.3. That's the version that this tablet runs. So it's iOS 7.0.3 for this slate here. Actually, it feels better on a tablet than on an iPhone. My opinion is that iOS 7 doesn't look that good on the iPhone 5S or iPhone 5. However, on the tablet it seems to suit the experience better, if you ask me. As you can see, we got the notification center here with tabs like Today, All and Missed. And once you open either this notification center or the control center, you'll see that it will adopt the same background color as the thing behind it, so it's slightly transparent, and if we're on a blue or white background, you'll see it also changes color. It changes its transparency to fit what's behind it. Okay, in the notification area you already know what to find: calendar stuff, Facebook stuff, Twitter stuff, and the various notifications from your apps. Here in the control center area you have your music player control, volume control, brightness control, timer control, camera control, airdrop, your Bluetooth, Wi-Fi control, plane features, do not disturb, and your orientation lock. So these are all the shortcuts from the control center. You should also know that once you start to pull down the icons like this, you'll trigger the search area and this keyboard, so you can search for content on the device. If I start typing, I'll be searching among the contacts on the web and among the applications at the same time, which is pretty cool. Okay, there are new effects and transitions here. You'll meet them once you enter a folder, for example, whilst you'll close an app. So all of those can also be deactivated. Some people have been complaining about vertigo. You can also notice some effects if you try to look at the background from different angles. You'll see the image shifting only a little bit. And as I said, you can turn off those transitions and effects if you don't like them. I have to say that speaking of settings, these settings in iOS 7 are much better organized than the one in iOS 6. iOS 6 felt a bit confusing, but the organization here is perfect and you can actually find what you're looking for. Okay, and now the lock screen area, which can be accessed like this, allows you to swipe up to unlock the camera, or simply swipe to the side anywhere on the screen to simply unlock the device. As far as folders goes, you can trigger them by simply placing apps on top of each other, create a new folder like this, and you should know that now in iOS 7 folders can hold a virtually unlimited number of applications. Multitasking is done by double tapping the home button and closing down the apps like this. by swiping to the top. As you can see, sometimes it's a bit buggy. It's important to stay centered on the app and close it one at a time. Okay, so that was the multitasking. There are also several other gestures you can perform. Here you can see multitasking gestures by pinching the screen with your fingers. So let's say I'm triggering the App Store, the iTunes Store, and also triggering Maps. And if I'm in one of these apps and I want to go to the home screen, I pinch with 5 fingers, and as you can see I'm gradually going to the home screen. And if I'm in the app and want to switch to another one, I pinch with 4 fingers to the side and alternate between applications. So yet another multitasking method using pinching fingers as a method of input. Siri is also here with a female and male voice. These are the questions you can ask it. You can turn Bluetooth on or off, Wi-Fi on, what's the Apple stock price, what's the weather for today. You can email someone, and you can increase the brightness if you want. You have a lot of data about sports and actors, for example, and Wikipedia is also a source here. So good things have happened to Siri. It has evolved quite a little bit. Safari will be also shown to you. So let's show Apple.com this time. And I want to show that because I want to actually show the keyboard here. We got a standard keyboard here, but you can also enjoy a split keyboard like this one. Some people prefer to input like this using their thumbs. They're very fast at it, but you can go to the standard version, use it in landscape as well. And you can also choose to undock the keyboard and place it wherever you want on the screen. This actually feels better in portrait, so this is how you move your keyboard around. Okay, enough about input here. Now let's talk just a little bit about the applications. So we got the calendar that can now integrate your Facebook events, birthdays, show you stuff by week, month or year. You can look up stuff and you can view a variety of calendars. You can also collect your inbox here, see what's happening today, and also sync stuff from Gmail. Okay, enough with the calendar. In the photo section you can see stuff for your photo stream. You can create new streams and you can view the videos you created, even those with iMovie. You have a camera roll. You can see the camera roll sync in the cloud from your other devices, your iPhone for example, what you synced in the iCloud. And then we move further to a clock. That includes wall clock, alarm, stopwatch and timer. And then we move even further to the Maps app that has evolved past that application that was so criticized when it appeared about a year ago or so. Now we have 3D graphics, but not in all the towns, only in some of them. And we also have options like a printing map, drop a pin, satellite, standard or hybrid. You can also hide or choose to show traffic. The data here is provided by TomTom and others. You'll find the list here with acknowledgements. Anyway, it's important to remember that Maps has evolved and now you can get directions to a certain area if you want. And then you'll see the time it takes you to get there. You'll start off and then you'll see a variety of indications and pointers, which is pretty cool for this app that has evolved. It may not be Google Maps just yet, but it's still reasonably cool. For notes, well, notes hasn't changed that much. What you do here is simply go to the notes area, start writing something like buy milk, and write review. Okay, then you save it into your notes and will be remembered there forever and ever. In the game center area, the graphics have changed pretty much. Finally, it looks like a decent game center. The old one looked like something out of 1997. Here you can see your friends, your games, challenges, turns. For example, if you play Worms, it will notify you when it's your turn. And here you can see your friends' requests. You can enter a status and see the top games and the games you've played so far and the points you've scored. Okay, and then we move further to some newspaper reading. This is newsstand. You can find here your papers, your Top Gear, your Maxim, your FHM maybe, interior design magazines, fashion magazines, sports, health, fitness, business, Forbes and Wired, Jamie Oliver and lifestyle. Everything is here in the newsstand. This is both a way to download stuff and also a way to read your magazines. Arts and photography. Didn't even know there were so many magazines about photography. Okay, now obviously we got iTunes for music downloads. You can see here the top charts, top artists and top songs and music videos. You can also see the top films. This is the main area of the music that's taking quite a while to load. Lots of hits here, new and noteworthy, recent releases, and some pre-orders for future albums. Okay, well, in the App Store, I like the interface very much here. And as you can see, once you're in the newsstand, basically you're in the App Store side section. This is the main section of the App Store that is using tabs for kids, games, and more. You also have a section for wishlist, top charts, and popular applications in my area, purchased apps, updates, and feature that you can see right here. iOS 7 will also bring you automatic app updates, a feature that some people will appreciate and some probably won't. You should also know that Apple offers with new devices free versions of the famous apps called Pages, Numbers, iMovie, iPhoto, Keynote, GarageBand, and iBooks. So the productivity suite is here. It's available for free if you've just purchased a brand new iPad or iPhone and want to enjoy it with your productivity suite. And you should also know that in the keynote where they unveiled the new iPad mini and the new iPad Air, well, they also show new versions of these apps that have gotten updated as well. So this is Pages. Let's go to the documents. You have a bunch of templates here, and this is a very solid alternative to Word from Microsoft Office. This is how you create a new document. These are the templates that are available to you. They include essays and reports, letters, resumes, envelopes, business cards, flyers and posters, cards, miscellaneous, and newsletters. Here's a newsletter. This is how you interact with an element. Here you can change the line spacing, you can add a list with bullets, you can change the styling, you can change the alignment, bold, italic, and underline available as well, paragraph style, heading, and label. And as I said, you can change the layout if you want. You can add photos, you can also add 2D or 3D elements and even interactive stuff. Plus you can also add a variety of shapes. Here you can change the tracking, do some document setups, some settings available here. There's even spelling check, word count, comments, ruler, center guides, spacing guides, author name, and even some sharing and sending a copy. And you can also work on documents at the same time with people from a Mac, as far as I know, which is always a good thing. So we're taking care of word editing easily, and we're also taking care about spreadsheets. You can see that a slight lag tends to appear at some point here. You can create a spreadsheet like this. This is the one of the retirement savings. You select something here, then you interact with that element, fill color, border style, wrap text in cell. I'm really not good at Excel, so excuse me, but I know that you can modify headers. You can insert or create new tables with a variety of table options and what appears to be a bit of lag. You can format stuff, date and time, percentage, currency. You can also add those elements I mentioned earlier, 3D or 2D, flip charts. You can select cells in the table to add data. As I said, I'm not very good with Excel, but you have to take my word for it. This is a very good app if you want to show your boss some flip charts and progress charts and all that, and some pie charts. Then comes iMovie, where you can actually create a movie of your own. You got your videos, projects, and theater. In the project section, you can either create a trailer or a movie. You can combine your music, your videos and photos with a template to create a movie production. You have to tap the symbol to insert the media, to record the video and all that. You can use your camera for that. Frankly speaking, I prefer the trailer feature of this application, if you ask me. So let's create a trailer. That's much easier. So you can create a scary movie, a romance movie. Let's see how the romance is done. Okay, so here you have the name of the production, the cast, studio, credits. You can change everything here. Then starts the storyboard. Here you can place a face of a character. Let's say this duck over here. Then you have to show your character in another perspective, maybe like this. Then there's the two shot, there are two people in love. And then there's only the guy who loses the girl. Then there's the guy who loses the girl, and he has to be shown from a certain perspective. You have to change the position. Then the two of them brought together by circumstance, maybe show some flowers. Then you should actually try to add some videos to increase the dramatic effect. And that's what we've got so far. Let's go to the start. Okay, that's what we achieved so far with a bunch of pictures and videos. You can surely create more using iMovie. And now let's see the other apps. Those include iPhoto, where you can customize your pictures. So let's say we choose this picture of flowers. Okay, maybe not this one because it's blurry. Maybe this one with a bee. Okay, and the options available here include, let's say we got crop. We got exposure options to play with. We got color options, a lot of them actually. We can also play with the white balance. And then come the brushes, quite a lot of them. You can lighten up stuff. You can saturate, desaturate, sharpen, and then come the effects. Once again, a huge amount of effects that we can apply, like these drama effects. So a lot of stuff to customize using iPhoto. If RAM or the CPU were a concern, I should do that, but here there is no need for that because we have enough resources. Then there's Keynote, and in Keynote you will pull your famous presentations. You can see that there's a slight bit of lag when opening the app, and that tends to bother me. Okay, so we have these two shots right here. You double tap to edit, you write what you want here, let's say bike, then you add a new element like a shape or a chart showing you how many bikes have been sold lately. You move to the next flip chart. Transitions and builds, you add a new transition here. You can rotate element, interact with them, and basically this is a very good alternative to PowerPoint. If you don't have a laptop near you with PowerPoint installed, this is excellent. Okay, then there's GarageBand for music making. Not much has changed here, the bulk of options is the same. Now you can work with more tracks as far as I know, and everything should be easier to import, save and render using this powerful CPU. Basically the music makes itself. People could play with this all day and still it wouldn't be enough for them. Okay, then there's iBooks if you want to do a bit of reading. A huge collection of authors available here. Some options here as well. You can change the brightness, change the size of the font, the type of the font. You can also change the background with sepia, white, black. You can also either choose to scroll the text to the bottom or flip pages like this. You can choose to buy a book or sample it. We got the stores, we got collections of books, so book lovers will be very happy with the new iBooks. Basically, the new iBook hasn't changed much. Maybe it has changed the content, and that's about it. Okay, so this was iBooks. We got GarageBand here, we got iTunes U, Podcasts, Find Friends, Find My iPhone, and those are all the apps you need to see here. In the end, I want to show you the graphics of a high-end game. It's Infinity Blade 3. Every review of the iPhone 5s wanted to show you how cool the graphics are, and the iPad Air has a very powerful CPU and GPU, so we must show you how cool the graphics can be here as well. You can look around for items. before the fight starts. Okay, now the two characters are fighting and it's turn-based, so we have to dodge. As you can see, the graphics are pretty impressive on this iPad Air tablet. We did a bit of pairing. Now let's do a combo. And this is Infinity Blade 3, the game where you swipe and watch people fight each other basically for nothing. Okay, graphics were impressive, you probably figured that out as well. We already reviewed Rayman Fiesta Run in a separate review. Colorful graphics there as well. Of course, you probably expected this to be an excellent tablet for gaming. Well, it is. You can play the Trigger 2 on it to also showcase its graphical abilities. But it's time to end this review with the pros and cons section. Obviously, we got a lot of pros. We got very good audio, very good bass, very good volume, and very good voice clarity from these two stereo speakers here. The screen is excellent. It has excellent colors, excellent brightness, about almost 400 lux of units or so. Viewing angles are perfect. And the battery is very good. We achieved 11 hours of continuous HD playback via YouTube with the Wi-Fi on. We got a powerful CPU and GPU combo, 64-bit processor with a very powerful GPU. It rendered a video for us, well, in about 10 seconds. It was a HD video, 1 minute long, and that's pretty reasonable. The design is also a plus here. The tablet is very thin and very light, 28% lighter than the iPad 4, 7.5 millimeters in thickness, and it's got a bunch of free cool apps for productivity and for multimedia editing that you'll love. Those include Pages, those include Numbers, iMovie and iPhoto, and people will be very happy to have them for free. The camera is also surprisingly good for an almost 10-inch tablet, and that's the full list of pros. Now the cons, well, iOS 7 is obviously one of the cons here. People don't like this interface, and neither do I. I have to say that iOS 7 does look better on a tablet than it does on an iPhone. That's just my opinion. The icons seem better distributed on the screen, or at least I think so. As I said, iOS feels slightly unfinished just yet. It may feel finished later on, and the new interface has yet to convince many people. Okay, another cons from the con side is the fact that the back of the tablet vibrates when you listen to music at the maximum level. People were expecting a Touch ID fingerprint sensor here, another con. And the blacks of the screen are not deep. We reached 2 lux units on black. Also, the camera options could be more complex. And finally, the tablet has clearly a portrait design. It's a 4:3 aspect screen, and the placement of the speakers speaks for itself. So this one is a portrait tablet, even though it's a 9.7 incher. Verdict, we're giving it a 9.3 out of 10 for design, a 10 out of 10 for hardware, and a 9 out of 10 for operating system and user interface. The final grade here at Tablet-News.com is 9.43 out of 10, which is a very good grade for this tablet. And you should also know one thing here: this tablet is 20% better than any 10-inch tablet on the market right now, which is a pretty impressive feat. Its only rivals are actually smaller models like a 7-incher or 8-incher, especially the iPad mini Retina. That's the main killer of the iPad Air. For itself, the iPad Air is a fantastic tablet, very powerful, very slim, very light, with a very good camera, good speakers, and appealing free apps on it. That's it from Tablet-News.com. Bye bye.